The Florida Gators are no longer releasing official depth charts, but that doesn't mean I can't dream, right?
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Wednesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. And like I said, the Florida Gators are no longer releasing depth charts. Billy Napier has said that with the new availability reports that they have to give out for SEC play every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and 90 minutes before the game, that they're no longer doing depth charts and that you can just look at the availability report and kind of piece it together yourself. He basically said, you know what? I'm not giving you the depth chart. I'm not listing a starting quarterback officially. We're going out there. Figure it out yourselves, which, sure. But I will still give my opinion on players I'd like to see play over other players. We got 2 offense, 2 defense today, okay? I'm not getting hung up on the right side of the offensive line. We know how I feel about 2/3 of the guys that play on the right side specifically. And by that, I mean the guys that rotate at right guard, right tackle. However, receiver Trey Wilson missed the Texas A&M game last week. Unclear if he'll miss this week against Mississippi State. Something tells me that he might, but we'll see what happens with that one. If he's out again, though, I would like to see Aiden Mizell playing more at receiver. Marcus Burke got the start last week, and then we didn't see him again after a little bit, and then Taylor Spirito came in and played most of the snaps after that. I would like to see Aiden Mizell out there. Marcus Burke, I mean, he's someone that every offseason we hear the hype. Most of the off seasons I have played into the hype and agreed with the hype, but this offseason I said, you know what, I'm not going to throw myself in there again. And then during the regular season, if he doesn't produce, then I look like a fool. Took myself out of that one. He got targeted last week, dropped it, which not an easy ball to catch, but definitely a catchable ball, and he didn't catch it. And then Taylor Spirito played most of the time after that. Not that it was immediately after the drop. It was just happened to be shortly after that. Then Aiden Mizell didn't really play. I'd like to see him out there. I know that a lot of Florida Gators fans talk about Aiden Mizell and they go, oh, Devontae Smith because he's skinny. I don't see it like that at all. However, I do think that Aiden Mizell has game-changing speed. I think he's got great size at 6'3". We saw him score a touchdown with DJ Lagway. I'm fine with him only playing Lagway snaps. I'm fine with that. Like that's not a problem for me at all because, well, Lagway's the QB that would use him better. That's always been a thing, too. Like, we've talked about that a lot with DJ Lagway of all of these speedy guys that Billy Napier's added throughout his tenure don't get used as vertical threats at all. They only get used as these catch-and-run players. Aiden Mizell isn't much of a catch-and-run player. He's a run-straight, get-over-the-top kind of player. DJ Lagway can utilize that. Hell, DJ Lagway did utilize that against Samford. I would like to see Aiden Mizell get more playing time at receiver over Marcus Burke if Trey Wilson is not playing again. A change that I think a lot of people would like to see. And this isn't a knock on Marcus Burke. It's just if we're going to see the tall, fast guy that's kind of rigid, let it be the young one, right? And that's how it is for a lot of things. I feel like I've taken that approach for a lot of players. If we're going to see guys that are similar styles and similar levels of talent, give me the young one. That's my approach to it. At tight end, I'm going to say this again. I would like to see Tony Livingston get a lot of run again this week. He did play a lot last week. He came in at the second half. It was Tony Livingston and Hayden Hansen as the two tight ends out there. I'd like to see that grouping again. I know that there's a lot of love for Arliss Boardingham, and I'm not trying to hate at all. I just don't share that same level of love and enthusiasm, mostly because I look at him as a power slot, and they have him playing tight end. That's it. Like I'm not even saying he's bad. I'm just like, I know that every time I bring this up, there's always the people. Last week, there were people in my comments yelling at me about it. Oh, you have Hayden on the show. That you can't be unbiased about this. It's nothing to do with that. I consider them playing different positions, basically. But for all the people that are going to be in the comments going, oh, but he's so dynamic, you have to put him on the field. Even if that's the case, he's not being used like that. All of his catches against Texas A&M were him going to the sideline and waiting and then taking a couple steps and stepping out of bounds before he gets hit. Like that's all of his catches. That's what we saw. That's the dynamic threat. No, he's not being used like a dynamic threat. So I don't care that he's a dynamic threat. Like it's simple. He's not being used like a dynamic threat. So for everybody saying, oh, he's so dynamic, that's irrelevant because he's not being used like that. That's why I want Tony Livingston to play, because I at least know Tony's a better blocker. I said last week, give me the guy that can block. Give me that one. And that's what I'd like to see there. On the edge, on defensive side of the ball, edge is a spot I'd like to see. I would like to see LJ McCray take some of George Gumbs' snaps. That's not a knock on George Gumbs at all. Hear me out. George Gumbs played against Texas A&M. It was like 65 to 70% of the entire defensive snaps for the Florida Gators. Okay? There were 79 snaps. He played, between 65 and 70% of those snaps. Okay? That's uncommon for an edge, especially when his position's not always on the field. Like his position's not always on the field. There's not always two edge guys out there. So really, he played about 70 to 80% of the snaps available at his position. And to me, that's too much for an edge guy. DB, I think it's fine. Honestly, I think at DB, you're okay. I think linebacker, you can do it, pushing it a little bit. But on the edge, because on the edge, you're constantly running into bigger offensive linemen and battling physically every single down. You know, it's tough. It wears you down. Who was it? Chris Jones with the Kansas City Chiefs, star defensive tackle, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the entire NFL, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the past couple decades. When it's all said and done, might go down as one of the best interior defensive linemen of all time. Even he was like, hey, like playing on the defensive line, it's really tough to even go like 7-8 snaps. Like you're tired by then. When you go 7-8 snaps in a row, you get tired by then. When you're playing, like, I think it was 59 snaps or something like that for George Gumbs, and a lot of them are rushing the passer, it's tiring to do that, okay? So this has nothing to do with George Gumbs' talent, skill set, none of that. It has to do with maybe he should be playing a little bit less to keep him fresher, right? Keep him fresh later in games, later in downs. We've seen this happen before with Florida, by the way, where they play a guy more than he should, and he's not as productive because he's playing worse because he's playing so much. He's not allowed to be fresh. So for me, George Gumbs, give some snaps. LJ McCray, that's move. Like, it'd be great if George Gumbs was playing like 55% of the total defensive snaps, which, you know, not a huge drop off, right? 7 less snaps, 7 or 8. Not too bad, right? That's still 50 snaps in a game. Like, it's still playing a lot. But, you know, let the next two guys eat up. Whatever, if it's LJ McCray, it was Jack Pyburn a lot against Texas A&M. If it's LJ McCray, whoever it is, let him go. TJ Searcy and him aren't really competing for snaps. But rotations have been a problem for this stuff. Linebackers rotating too much. Some edge spots aren't rotating enough. it's been a problem. Worrisome, right? Like we finished the first 3 games of the season. That should be figured out for the most part. But they're the ones that get paid millions of dollars. And a quick one before we get to the Hayden Hansen interview that we have every Wednesday. Safety, Gregory Smith over DJ Douglas again. I know that there's one guy in my comments last week that was super upset about it. Yeah, there's one guy in the comments, you didn't play football at the SEC level. You don't get to criticize. Here's my rebuttal to that. And this applies to anybody that wants to bring up, you didn't play football at the SEC level. You don't get to criticize. You didn't play football professional. You don't get to criticize. All that stuff. Because it's really fun. It's a really easy response. If you don't host a daily podcast, you don't get to criticize me by your same logic. That being said, again, I'd like to see Gregory Smith play over DJ Douglas. DJ Douglas he was one that I was skeptical of in the transfer portal. I don't think he was great at Tulane, and taking a step up to the SEC is very rare. The guys all of a sudden get that much better. Tackling specifically was an issue. He's got 7 missed tackles this year. No one else on that team has more than 2, if I'm not mistaken. It's been really rough for DJ Douglas to start. If it's going to be rough, at least give me the young guy. At least give me the true freshman. Let him play the game. Let him figure things out. Let him develop and let him work, right? That's my take on it. It's not to be rude. I just want to see this team win some football games. And I think that those adjustments can help you do that. We are about to be joined by Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators starting tight end, next on Locked On Gators. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Thousands. Yeah, it's a lot. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing marketplace that I use. I've expressed this repeatedly. I've seen Mets games. I've seen Gators games. I've bought tickets for 2 Gators games. Yeah, I bought tickets for 3. Utah 2022, Arkansas 2023, Miami 2024. At least we won one of those games. I've bought tickets to 4 concerts this year alone on Game Time, right? Shout out Anita. Shout out Shabuzi. Shout out That Mexican OT. Shout out Sueco. Just saying, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Joining me now for Locked On Gators is Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators starting tight end. And I hate that we have to do this again, but we kind of spoke about this a little bit last week. As a player, how do you deal with all of the outside noise right now? Because, I know that even if you guys try to avoid anything, we've spoken about it before. If you like anything Florida Gators, you're going to see those on your algorithm. And a lot of what we see right now is Billy Napier's impending job security. But just as a player, how do you kind of deal with that noise that seems to be just constantly coming in right now about Billy Napier?
Yeah, I mean, I just think with anything, if you look for it, you're going to get it. You open your phone up, go on Twitter. That's probably the worst place to go right now. It's frustrating. Even more for the players and the coaches. We all really like Napier. We all play for him, and we hate that he's going through this right now. There's a lot of stuff we need to clean up on both ends of the ball, obviously. I know our special teams, I think they're 1 in the nation right now. So that's really the only part of our team that's Doesn't need much improvement, but we got to get this offensive defensive side of the ball figured out. And we had a great Tuesday practice today, one of the best ones in a while. I think guys are getting up and going again, and they're getting tired of it. I mean, at some point, it's got to change, and it starts with the players. As much as people want to attack the coaches, so yeah.
How wild is it that I feel like last year one of the most criticized areas was special teams, and now it's just lights. I mean, Chim Dike with that downing the punt at the 1 was just like that. That was a play where I watched that. I was like, that's an NFL team's going to see that from him and just love him as a gunner right away. But how did you guys turn around special teams so drastically in one offseason?
Yeah, I mean, we brought in Joe Houston from the NFL. Napier's always emphasized it. I think the launch pad really helps. I know a lot of people were kind of laughing at it, but I think it's proven to be pretty effective, especially on the sidelines. Even Houston, he was like, I was never a big launch pad guy in the NFL, but he's like, now I am. It's like, because I can coach you up in the huddle right before you go in. I can see the look in your eyes. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, we probably – I'll be very confident in saying we probably spend the most time on special teams out of the whole SEC, and it's pretty cool to see that part paying off.
Can you walk me through the launchpad part of it? Just like, what is it? Just like, on fourth down when we feel like it's coming up, get on the pad if your unit would be out there, or what's that like?
Yeah, so I mean, it's wherever we are on the field, whatever they think is going to come up, like if they're in punting territory, they'll be like punt alert. Which means it's third down. If they don't get it, they're going to punt it. So when you hear punt alert, if you're on punt, you go to your spot on the launch pad, all 10. There's 10 circles because the punter doesn't count on there. So, yeah, I mean, it's really good. It's really cool. And they made it even a little sign. I don't know if you saw it on the sideline, like it would say return or punt. Like, so you can find the launch pad. There's so many people on the sideline.
Got it. Okay. And I also, now that explains the 10, because I remember when the pictures first came out, people were like, oh, even on that, there's only 10. So I appreciate you pointing that one out for me. But now talking about the actual game on Saturday, what happened against Texas A&M? Just where did it go wrong? Obviously, you can't speak for the defense; you're not on the field there. But just what happened for you guys offensively against Texas A&M?
I mean, it's just frustrating, man. I think it was just some uncharacteristic mistakes from guys that do it right all week, and then all of a sudden we get into a game and some little stuff happens. I know early on we had some uncharacteristic MAs from some really good players that hurt us. But I just think we got to come together at some point. It's got to start this week. We just got to start putting it all together. I mean, we worked way too hard for this to happen. We worked too hard not to have success, and I think I know, but I think we need to keep improving this week, and we've got to put it together on the road against Mississippi State, which is a team we should beat. We just got to show up and execute. I mean, at the end of the day, it is the SEC. Any team can beat any team, but if we show up at 11 a.m. their time and execute, we should get the job done 100%.
Yeah, we will talk about that game a little bit later, but I'm also curious about Saturday. So you guys come out, start the game, play a quarter, then there's a 45-minute break for the lightning delay. You come and play another quarter, then you have halftime and another break. No interruptions in the second half. But what is it like to have all of those elongated stops and then have to get back out there and go right back? Does that screw up the rhythm at all or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of annoying for me because I felt like I was a little hot coming out, and I had that one catch for 11 yards, and then I felt like I was blocking pretty good, and all of a sudden it just stopped for about 30 minutes. Sitting in there, eating some snacks from the trainers, getting your body right. I mean, it's no excuse. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing like that. But it kind of takes a little bit of the momentum you had. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were down 10-0, but I just felt like, just me personally, like I had some momentum going, and it kind of slows you down. You got to kind of restart the engine. But yeah, I mean, they also had a delay too. So
yeah. And can you walk me through? I feel like throughout his entire career, Billy Napier's bread and butter has been the run game. You guys brought in Jonathan DeCoster this past offseason to join the offensive line staff. Darnell Stapleton left. But I feel like so far the run game has struggled to generate consistent gains. So is there anything going on that, or what is it that's just not generating the return you would usually think from, again, a team that ran the ball well last year, more returning offensive linemen this year than last year? You had the explosive Montreal run against Miami, but outside of that, there's been a consistency issue there.
Yeah, that's probably one of the parts I'm most frustrated with. That's kind of goes back to what I was saying, just some uncharacteristic MAs from the offensive side of the ball that we don't really make throughout the week that for some reason they show up on game day. And we got to figure that stuff out. And like I said, it started today, and we had a great practice today. Great look from the scouts. Great look for good on good. It just gets me excited, and you can feel the urgency. And the part that annoys me the most is it looks so good when we full speed in practice and stuff, and we get to the game, it's just not where we want it to be. And I look forward to it. I look forward to this week because if we can put it together, I promise you, we're going to be good.
Hey, Gators fans, have you heard about ROY? It stands for Return on You, and it's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before by making contributions directly to your favorite athletes. By supporting players directly, you can help shape rosters, retain talent, keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes, and ROY changes the NIL game for fans. ROY allows fans to directly back their favorite college athletes. With ROY, fans can play a key role in shaping the future of their favorite teams, while athletes maximize their name, image, and likeness potential, the NIL potential. As we all know, especially on this show, we talk about the NIL. We talk about recruiting and if we feel like it's a bidding war. We've talked about that a lot. ROY, you can help the Florida Gators. Get the ROY app for iOS or Android and start making an impact on your favorite team. Use referral code LOCKEDON for an opportunity to win $5,000 cash in a sweepstakes. Visit joinroy.com for more details. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get off the sideline and into the NIL game with ROY. And I don't know if you can see this beauty behind me right there. There you go. Now you can. There we go. Now we can see it here. Team Ticker is a one-of-a-kind sports sign for college sports fans, and Team Ticker is a 1.5 by 2 foot wall sign featuring the Gator logo. That has a cool retro-looking LED display. The display is updated daily with fresh content such as a countdown to next game, schedules, standings, stats, and news. And it's super fun and a great way to stay connected with Florida Gators sports fans. I will say this. You can use the remote control on your phone. You can play the fight song way louder than I anticipated it being. But because I don't want to get copyright stricken by Florida, I will not do it. But you got football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, soccer, if your school has soccer, softball. Team Ticker has you covered, right? Every single day updates. Like we got other schools popping up for us. It lets you know everything there. And each sign is officially licensed. So I'm just saying. Beautiful. Team Ticker is the ultimate addition for your Florida Gators sports collection. Team Ticker is one-of-a-kind sports sign. Go to teamticker.com and use promo code LOCKEDON to receive $50 off your Team Ticker purchase. Yeah, and Billy Napier said something during his press conference that I need confirmation on. Do you guys really call Taylor Spioto 30-30?
Yes, we do. Yep.
That is a wild thing, but I love to hear it there. And you guys played this past Saturday. Graham Mertz started. He came back from the concussion, thankfully, fine there. DJ Lagway rotated in. They rotated in every other drive. I mean, first half, you guys had, I think it was 12 offensive plays before the final drive really opened up there. And we've been told through Billy Napier's press conferences that maybe this weekend against Mississippi State, it won't be as cut and dry as just rotating every possession, whatever he may mean by that. And I know obviously you can't speak on that part about it, but what is that like prep wise as a team where you have your good on good reps, but I'm assuming it's DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz splitting reps there, obviously. But what's that like prep wise to work with two different style quarterbacks and just two different quarterbacks in general? We've spoken about it before where every quarterback is different. So just what's that like as a team?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't change a thing for us on offense. It's not like DJ has a special playbook or Graham has a special playbook. Same plays, obviously just a different captain back there, So just focus on doing your job, and if one of them tends to get out of the pocket more than the other, or if one of them tends to stay in the pocket more than the other, I think you just know that in the back of your head, So.
Yeah, and I would let you know this. There was that one play where I think it was DJ threw it to you toward the back of the end zone. It was overthrown or out of the back of the end zone. But I think most of the listeners of Locked On Gators saw that and they were like, holy crap, finally a ball up in the back of the end zone there. Didn't work out, but, progress. I'll take a target over there over anything else. You mentioned the Mississippi State game coming up this weekend. You guys head to Starkville. What's the prep been like for that, where, coming off a loss, but also first road game of the year? You guys have been lucky enough to have the 3 home games to start off. Obviously didn't break the way you wanted, but first road game, what's that prep been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the intention of improving every single day, take it a day at a time. Like today, this team got better 100%. Tomorrow, we better get better. I think we will. I think the mindset's there. And just know Napier is bringing it up in the team meeting today, just about it's a business trip. We touch down in the hotel. We're the best prepared we can be. We go out there, win, and get right back out. So just a business trip. We know why we're there. And we got kind of like the last week against Miami, you got to get the taste out of your mouth, You got to go beat these guys, get the taste out of your mouth, attack the bye week, get better, then get ready for UCF.
We talked about as a player dealing with the criticism around Billy Napier, but we didn't really talk about the criticism of the team itself. Like I feel like going into the season, it felt like there was a different level of hype. Miami game happened, of course, and the Texas A&M game happened, and now it just seems like morale in the fan base is at an all-time low. How do you kind of block that one out as a player?
Yeah, are you just talking about like morale for the team without the coaches? Yeah. I mean, it's just controlling what you say. What you say has power. I mean, if you think it, you're going to act like it. So I think a lot of the leaders on the team, they know the challenge. Just to keep everybody up, if they hear something negative, squash it. Napier said today after practice, he was just like, we're not going to have individuals break this team apart. We're going to stick together. He's like, you're always going to have stuff happen in life, and it matters how you get up. And he brought up a quote during our leadership meeting, or I think Boone actually brought it up, a Martin Luther King quote about don't judge a man at his highest, judge a man at his lowest. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And how you act is going to be a direct reflection of your character. So,
and just getting back to the Mississippi State game, obviously, I have to mention this. They lost to the school I went to, Toledo. Now you got your first road game of the year, SEC game, and last year, road games were not kind to you guys. I believe South Carolina was going road win during the 2023 season. How do you guys kind of knock that one out of just, new season, forget the past 2 years under Billy, we're not good on the road? How do you kind of eliminate that?
Yeah, I mean, this is like this is the new veteran group that came back. A lot of guys came back. So we know what to expect. We know the schedule. And even the guys that came in from the portal, veteran players, we know what it's going to be, and we're already getting their minds right. We know it's going to be our early game, 11 their time, 12 our time. So, I mean, we know what to do. We just got to go out there and we just got to put that complete game on tape. We haven't done that yet, and that's what we need to do.
Has anything changed practice-wise as far as, just breaking the Power 4 losing streak or anything like that? Has there been any change with just how you guys approach practice?
No, I mean, it's been the same, cut and dry.
And, we like to end with a non-specific football question here. I don't think we've talked about this yet. I know last year we talked about it and it's changed. Who's got the aux now this year? Who's the guy that's got the aux, and what are they playing?
Oh God, nothing that I listen to. I'll tell you that right now. We got a guy. I think I already told you this. Javion Toombs, one of our guys, our defensive back. He likes to rap a little bit. Calls himself Two Boot. Hear that more than I want to. But yeah, I mean, it's either him or Cormani. They play Cormani's music. He raps too, or it'll just be, for the most part, I think, couldn't even tell you he was on aux, but after those two, so I don't know.
Because I remember you guys had the there was I think it was a TikTok that the social team put out of who you can't have on the aux or something like that. And was it Hayden Clem? Was that one of the names that came up? Why was that?
I don't know. I know I got the aux one time last year, played country music. Now I'm not allowed back on there.
And they were just like, no, never again. Yeah. Been there, done that. So I get that. But thank you so much, Hayden. This was Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators starting tight end. Catch him every Saturday with your Florida Gators and every Wednesday on Locked On Gators. Thank you once again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow to talk more Florida Gators football. We will be talking about this game against Mississippi State, which my Toledo Rockets wiped the floor with them last week. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33, and I'll see you all next time.